Hey, first grade, we are so lucky this week. We get to read the story of Ferdinand. Actually, we'll spend 2 weeks on this book. So we'll take it a little bit slower pace than we did Bread and Jam for Francis, and I'll read to you every other day, and you're going to really love it. Monroe Leaf is the author. He wrote the story, wrote the words, and the crazy thing is he wrote this whole book in just 40 minutes. So less than an hour. About the amount of time you guys spend at school, at lunch, and then at recess. That's how long it took him to write this story. So pretty amazing since it's such a good little story. And the drawings are by Robert Lawson. He also wrote and illustrated another book called Ben and Me. It's about Ben Franklin's life, and it's told from the perspective of a little mouse that lives with him. It is a chapter book, so not one you'll probably read by yourself, but maybe your parents can find it and read it to you, or when you get a little bit older. This is the story about a bull. Do you remember when we went to the dairy farm? All the cows that we saw there were females. The females give the milk, but the daddy cows, they're not cows, but they're called bulls, are the males, the dads of the herd. So this is a story about a young bull named Ferdinand. Do sometimes your friends want to do something that you don't want to do? They ask you, and it could be not even wrong necessarily, but just something you're not interested in. Do you ever like to just be quiet and do things by yourself? Some of us do, some of us don't. Depends on your personality. Well, this story, Ferdinand, is about a bull who, unlike his companions, prefers being quiet to being fierce. And I know you're going to love it. But before we read, I need to go over just a couple of things. The story takes place in Spain. Spain is this country in Europe that's way over here, sticks out on the very tip of Europe. It has the Mediterranean Sea on one side and the Atlantic Ocean on the other side. Right now there is a lot of coronavirus in Spain. We need to pray for those people. So here's a blow-up picture of Spain. There's what their flag looks like. The country of Spain is on the Iberian Peninsula. A peninsula is a piece of land that's surrounded by water on three sides. It has a warm, temperate climate. Many Spanish children have to travel to the Pyrenees Mountains or the peak of La Sierra Nevada in Granada if they want to play in the snow. So most of their country doesn't have snow, but if they go up in the mountains, they can see snow. And many things grown in Spain are shipped to us so that we can enjoy them, like olive oil, lemons, oranges, almonds, and cork. Now, cork is important in the story because Ferdinand likes to sit under the cork tree. And the Spanish word for that looks like this, alcornoque. I'm probably not saying that right. They grow near the Mediterranean Sea, and that's where Ferdinand loved to sit. Now, in the book, you can tell that our illustrator, Robert Lawson, has a sense of humor because he made the cork trees look like corks are growing on them like fruit. Let me find a picture to show you. Come on, where is it? There you go. See that? Corks don't really grow like that on trees. So the illustrator is being silly with you when he draws that. Cork grows in the bark of the tree. And there's a YouTube video on the reading lesson today for you to watch a few minutes of just how that cork comes off of those trees and how they harvest it. And they can't do it every year. It's only every, I think it was 7 years. But you listen and see if I'm right about that. It's been a while since I watched it. And here are a couple of other pictures of bulls. They're raised in the country. They can run and play. A full-grown bull can be 1,600 pounds. When the bull turns 4, if they are fit enough, they might be selected to fight in the bullfights. And we will learn more about that later. Okay, before we begin reading, let's go over our words. Oh, you'll know what this is now since we just talked about it. Yep, cork, cork. What do you think these are? Oh, it's not the animal, it's the grass and the land around it. Pasture. Ferdinand likes to play or rest in the pasture. What's he telling us to do? Well, if we didn't have that on there, it would be quiet, quiet. But how do you do something? Quietly. Quietly. That ly turns it into an adverb. They are putting the pieces together. Oh, can you recognize this from the other pictures I showed you? Yep, the country Ferdinand lives in is Spain. AI phonogram, Spain. And there's a picture from The Sound of Music. What do you think that is about? What does that have to do with Ferdinand? Ah, favorite. Remember the song? These are a few of my favorite things. Favorite. Odd job E there. It's not making the I say its name. Favorite. And make sure you get out your first list of sight words. There's 2 for Ferdinand in your packet. The second one will say set 2. The first one doesn't have anything after the title. So this is the one you're going to work on for this week. And we'll just read them together, and then I want you to mark them after the video. Together, understanding, flowers. Oh, there's a spelling word from a couple of weeks ago. Though, favorite, jobby, worry, pasture, sometimes. So we have a compound word, and it is plural. Sometimes. Another compound word, lonesome, and afraid. AI phonogram, afraid. Okay, get your pencil out, mark these sight words, and then in the next video I will read today's passage from Ferdinand to you. See you in a minute.